Do you remember whenever Melania Trump was accused by Michael Wolff of Epstein? Not even accused. Wolff just said that Epstein claimed that he introduced Melania and Donald Trump. And so Melania threatened to sue the Daily Beast, Michael Wolff, others saying retract that claim. Well, now we have
Navy.
And now we have here a file that seems to substantiate Michael Wolff's claim. Epstein assistant told feds he introduced Melania to Trump, files reveal. The claim was made to agents and prosecutors before Epstein died, and it is a crime to lie to the feds. Wowza. The greatest love story ever may have started right here. Everyone wants to know. So here it is. as she says in her documentary, everyone wants to know how I met Donald, a child sex trafficker. A one-time assistant to Jeffrey Epstein told the FBI, effectively under penalty of perjury, that the pedophile introduced Donald Trump to his wife, Melania. The unnamed woman, a former model who worked as Epstein's assistant for a year from 2005 to 2006, made the claim in July 2019, 3 days after her old boss was arrested by the FBI and charged with child sex trafficking. The 11-page, heavily redacted document was published in Friday's dump of 3 million Epstein files and uncovered on Monday. And here's the document itself. Zampoli was trying to buy elite models with Epstein. Epstein introduced Melania Trump to Donald Trump. So it's a claim. I don't know why some random person would just say that. Like, that's not even... At least I can come up with what the logic of someone lying about Trump would be, especially in later years, so that it's in a document, so that it hurts him. But number one, things that were stated or documented a long time ago before he was in politics doesn't really make sense why someone would lie. And then someone sitting down and just making that claim, what would be the point of lying about that? That's not a crime. That's just a statement documenting some record of, I guess, how close their relationship was. But it kind of makes sense. Maybe that was true because she went nuts when people started claiming that. And then what did she do? She said, I'm going to sue Hunter Biden for claiming that. Hunter Biden said, F off. And did she sue him? No, because she didn't actually want to take that to court. And then Trump is currently threatening to sue Michael Wolff for the reporting that he's done. And I gotta be honest, I'm gonna state this again. A lot of Michael Wolff's communication with Epstein, he would say it was for journalistic purposes. Weird me the freak out. But I do think he's revealed some interesting facts. But the way he's like constantly chit-chatting with Epstein over email about things that aren't really necessary to his reporting makes me uncomfortable. Just the quickest break from the video to request that you click the subscribe button. As you know, that's an important way to boost the message that we deliver to a larger audience, which is very important. Helps us out, but it's completely free on your end. Just by clicking that subscribe button, you help support our work. But still, again, he has revealed many bombshells and Trump is threatening to sue him. Let's see his reaction.
I woke up this morning and found that last night Donald Trump had threatened to sue me. Again, I think this is the third or possibly fourth time the President of the United States has threatened to sue me. Apparently, he was asked about his reaction to the 3 million pages of Epstein files that had been released. And his response was that, well, he was going to sue Wolff, a writer, because I had conspired with Epstein to frame him, I think was his point. And yes, I tried to encourage Jeffrey Epstein in any way I knew how to come forward with what he knew about Donald Trump. And actually, Epstein had started to do that. In my book...
And then what happened? Well, he had started to do that, then what happened?
Siege, Epstein talks about his breakup with Donald Trump over a piece of real estate in Palm Beach. Now, 3 weeks after...
Michael. These take too long. I really want to hear what your response is. It takes too long every time. I start hearing about Zampoli, I'm out. I've heard him he'll be like, so Melania is now threatening to sue Hunter Biden, the son of Hunter Biden. You might remember that MAGA Republicans investigated Hunter Biden. You're like, dude. And Epstein had a friend named Zampoli. Get out of here. No, he's trying to be thorough, and I appreciate that. But come on, we're trying to do a live show here. We got to move forward.
That book was published. Epstein was arrested by Donald Trump's Justice Department. As you may also know, Melania Trump threatened to sue me because...
Come on! I want to credit Hunter Biden whenever Melania threatened to sue him. You know what his response was? F you, or F off. That's to the point. I think at some point, come on, let's skip it to the end.
And revulsion. So sue me. Let's sue each other.
There you go.
I have nothing to hide, but Mr. President, you surely do.
There we go. All right. Good. Let me just quickly revise. Hi, I'm Michael Wolff. The President of the United States just threatened to sue me over my reporting about Jeffrey Epstein, saying that I conspired with him. Well, my response is this. Sue me, Mr. President. I have nothing to hide. You surely do. Boom, done. TikTok friendly, Insta friendly. Get it short. Get the watch time up. And then put text on screen. You won't believe what Trump just said. All hell breaks loose as Trump. No, okay. So that's good. This is important. And I agree. I actually do agree. Sue. Because you know Trump won't. Because you know then Michael Wolff would have discovery ability. And that would be a disaster for Trump. And Michael Wolff, come on. I just thought of this. Maybe Michael should come on the show. I think I have the normal questions about the reporting. I also want to ask him about what prompted all the, slumber parties. Was that journalistic? I don't know. That felt weird. Not literally slumber parties, but a little bit too hunky-dory for my taste. But maybe you're just manipulating him to make him trust you so he'll reveal stuff. All right. I've heard of going undercover in the mob. I wouldn't want to go undercover with a sex trafficker, but maybe that was a little bit of what was going on. Now, there is a really disturbing phenomenon among Nick Fuentes supporters in relation to all this Epstein stuff, where previously Nick Fuentes, the white supremacist, was going, Trump's covering up the Epstein files. And he still says that, but now he's doing this weird thing where he's like, but Epstein's kind of cool. And this is the kind of race to the bottom of depravity and extremism for the sake of virality or salaciousness. And someone always has to go lower. And Epstein, and Nick Fuentes has chosen the path of selling Epstein merch and saying, was Epstein even really a pedophile? And so I do want to check in on that. And then that's prompted his supporters to be like, Epstein has aura.
This whole pedo thing, it's like, is it really pedophilia? I don't want to be the one that has to say it, but I guess I'm being forced to say it.
You're not, by anyone.
It's not really pedophilia, okay? They weren't trafficking 5-year-olds. It was like they were technically not legal. Big difference. In my opinion. I know that's a controversial take, but that
you've seen some of the photos. You've heard from some of the witnesses. Extremely childish children. Extremely young children is pedophilia. And they say this like, I don't even want to give an example, but we're talking about a much older group of people. We're talking about very young, 13 children. And why that even is something that pops into your head, you don't know. But after that, he started selling merch based on Epstein's outfit.
I have my brand new USA quarter zip. This is very high quality. US flag on the side. And then we have the embroidered USA logo right here. You can zip it all the way up. You can zip it all the way down. Maybe if you're in like a tropical climate, you get a little warm.
And so then I show this to you because that prompted accounts like Greg the Groiper. So I'm just going to assume it's a Groiper. Greg says, I'm tired of pretending he didn't have aura about Epstein. So these are deeply mentally ill people. Like, that's just the world we're in. And something about mental illness to a certain extremity, and this is not stigmatizing other forms of mental illness, but whenever it manifests itself in political extremism and just psychological unwellness, in this weird, twisted way, it's incentivized in our social media driven world, to the point where Nick would feel, and one of his fans, who, let's see how many likes this got 9,000 likes, knows that in a sense, as provocative as you can be is the correct way to go on social media. That's the lesson people are learning. Someone with the account Honey said it's painfully evident that so much of right-wing Twitter is, unfortunately, just a bunch of people who were nerds in high school and trying to envision what it's like to be the cool kids. They will never know what it's like to have the it factor, and they have extreme identity issues because of it. No serious person thinks Epstein is cool. This is just cringe. So I don't like the whole nerd in high school thing, being like, oh, the nerds turn out to be pedophile lovers. I don't think that's true. I don't think that's the problem at all. All I'm going to say is there's a few nerds in the room I'm in right now. Okay? I'm saying me too. I'm not saying y'all. Ooh, self-report. I was including myself. And I don't want to say that means that then you end up praising Epstein. But there is something that she's getting at that's like, there's something so... I can't think of the word. Like a misled adolescent thinking that just being rich and powerful is quote unquote cool, no matter what you do with that wealth and power. And that's why these same Groypers are like, hey, say what you will about Hitler, but he was cool. Right? Nick Fuentes has been like, but he's just cool. Like the edits and the crowds and because they're thinking, some of them are just like Nazis. And then that's why they like him. And they want the killing. But some of them are just undeveloped people in this weird, where this surface level, I don't know, he had planes and he did whatever he wanted, he manipulated other people. And as they're praising a pedophile human trafficker, sex trafficker of children. Like, that's the extent. I've told you it's going to keep getting more extreme. And that's a little bit of what the Trump phenomenon was. People being like, yeah, I know he has terrible character. Yeah, you're right, that policy thing doesn't make sense. But he's the guy from The Apprentice, and he has the big buildings, and he's a businessman, and we need to run the country like a business. Never really substantiating in this more factual way, but just like, I don't know, his vibe, big, plain, Melania, hot, bah. And now that's going to keep getting more and more extreme as you push the envelope to now they're just openly praising Hitler and Epstein, like two of the worst people you can think of. Now, that's my best I try to give you all the explanation of the why under it. It still doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. You could find a really wealthy and powerful person who's cool. Really cool. I'm trying to think of one. I mean, he's not like the most wealthy person ever, but like Obama, you could go, if you're a Groyper and you just want like a dad, you have a dad, like you're trying to look for like a cool dad celebrity, don't go for the human traffickers. You could go for the Obama, right? Look at the video that he posted of Epstein, this Groyper, this Nick Fuentes fan.
Could you please give us your name? Jeffrey Epstein. Molly my bean. Molly my bean. Molly my bean. Molly my bean. Miley my beat. Miley my beat.
Is there something, is this person just a pedophile? That's the question. The person posting this. Or is it what I'm saying, which is like, I don't know, but he had like a private island and was like on top of the world for a while there. Like, what is the psychology of it? Because you could go, labba-dabby, labba-dabby, under a video of Obama walking down Air Force One, and I'd start physically reacting. I think most people would. Have you seen him walk down Air Force One steps? And especially if you had anything will seem cool. Especially Obama like on the beach. I'm sexualizing it. I don't mean to. No, I just mean like Obama being cool. Or like him saluting. You could make the same. What is this? Freaks is what it is. Nick, the reason this Groyper said that was because Nick went on a rant on his show saying, guys, you can't deny it. He had aura or whatever, like coolness, charisma. It's a psychosis. It's when all of our moral discussions get degraded, and I blame Trump in part for this, so much that all depth in moral discussions becomes cringe. And surface level is as deep as you'll go. Like that's what, you remember Piers Morgan said, why do you think Hitler is really effing cool? I think he's really effing a monster. And I think you're a big crock of shit. And Fuentes went, wow, you're so cringe. Oh, Hitler's a monster. Well, I don't know, the edits, he's cool. And it's like, on one end, you're not surprised because you go, yeah, he's like a neo-Nazi. But on the other end, you go, but people are resonating with this for some reason. And I know they're not all Nazis. Is it what I just said, that like when our society gives up on it being cool or admirable, honorable, to value moral principles that are kind of deep, then all that gets ripped away because you kind of got to rip it away to justify supporting Trump. And character becomes kind of, the Trump character, cringe. Then all you're left with is like very primitive, basic perceptions of what's admirable, ripped of their moral roots. Wow. I've never heard someone explain it that way. I just watched this episode of Schitt's Creek where, never mind, I can't explain it, but I was going to say, who said that? Who said that? I said that. Wow. Sometimes you're inspired by your own statements. I'm not gonna feel guilt for that. I'm not gonna feel guilt for the fact that I just said something and that kind of was insightful to me. Sometimes you incite yourself. It's just a thing.
We weren't just taking up space, we were making space.
Now, Jake Shields, who's crazy in a lot of ways, even he thought this was insane from that Groyper account. He said, bro, this isn't funny or edgy. He raped and tortured children. To which a different Groyper account goes, this is how a woman talks. Talking about Jake saying this is bad. That's my point. They're like, any caring about the well-being of people is kind of cringe and libby. Like everyone has to be this sociopath. Everyone has to not care about others and just be cool in it for themselves. That's what's cool. Sad.